Hey everybody, you're listening to Smoke Signals, the Cigar podcast. This is your host Chuck. We had an opportunity meet with a few people from Foundation Cigar Company, and we got a few clips, so listen up and enjoy.
What's going on, world? What's going on? It's Miguel Montanez, La Chaveta. I'm hanging out here in Cigar Mojo doing an event. I'm an independent broker. I'm here to serve all retails in my territory and show them love. Just wanted to say what's up. I'm showing love to all the high-end boutique lines that I represent, and I'm here to show you and give you as much knowledge as I have to show you about cigars and teach you anything I can possibly teach you, which is probably not a lot, but I'm trying. I represent several lines, and I love meeting new people, and I love meeting new brothers of the leaf. It's a beautiful thing, and I have Rick Ardito with me tonight for the Foundation event. We're featuring a whole bunch of cigars from Foundation, but we're emphasizing on the upsetters. And we just want to show people we talk to people about the cigars and let them know and give them as much knowledge as we can. I love PA, by the way. Big ups to PA. I'm from New York originally, but I do live in Jersey now, and I always tell my wife, if we move anywhere, we have to move to PA. You guys have the best food. You guys have the dopest cigar shops, and I love it out here. It's real cool. You know, I feel like family over here, and I'm just so glad to be a part of this, man. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Talk to you later. Okay, so before we get into our next segment, let's have a word from our sponsor.
Wait. When do we get a sponsor?
Yeah, we got a sponsor?
We have a sponsor yet?
All right.
Oh, cool.
That's great. Hit it.
Hi there, this is Herb Royd. Are you tired of paying too much for butane? Then try Ass Gas, the revolutionary new product that utilizes your body's noxious fumes to fill your butane lighters. For 3 easy payments of $19.95, you will get the entire Ass Gas kit. That includes the 60-gauge rectal adapter, large canister, and travel canister. Also included is a link with step-by-step video instructions on how to use your Ass Gas kit. And now for a limited time you can get a second Ass Gas kit free. Just pay separate shipping and handling. Just think, you get a second kit to share with a friend. You can have the fun and joy of helping each other install the 60-gauge rectal adapter. Just think of that. So why pay for butane when methane is free? Ass Gas, not sold in stores. Beans and lubricating jelly, not included.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Chuck. You're listening to a live edition of Smoke Signals. I'm here with my executive producer, Ryan Fazio. Faz, we call him. Co-host is busy playing dominoes, but we just wanted to take a minute to introduce our special guest today. And I'm going to let him introduce himself.
Hi, folks. My name is Rick Ardito, Foundation Cigar Company. My primary role in the company is I'm a utility guy, but brand manager mainly for the Upsetters brand. Herbal-infused cigar using Jamaican filler. Very, very unique Caribbean atmospheric infusion process that Nick and I collaborated on. When Nicholas called me 3 years ago and said, hey, you want to come back in, put the team back? Nick was my partner over at Drew. And I said, not really. I go, but listen, if you want to do an infusion project, and go real hardcore with it, a real clean process, a brand, create a brand that's really applicable for the brick and mortar higher end boutique cigar shops, and for the boutique palate, I said, that's a no-brainer. I'm in for that. And Nick called my bluff about a year later, and here I am. Nice. And I represent all of Foundation's blends. I mean, our blends, second to none. Right. Really proud of what we're doing. The Upsetters brand has been also, is really catching on in the marketplace. And it requires me to do like what I'm doing here today. Right. And where am I? King of Prussia? Yeah. Cigar Mojo. That's right. Great store. And just mingling with... I key on the people that I look at and say, I pick the guy that would be the last possible person that you would think would smoke something funky like the Upsetters. Right. dude, that's my market.
Gotcha.
That's my market. I hit them square between the eyes. It's a very clean smoke, so when you're done with it, there's no lingering after effects.
Right.
And you're ready for another cigar or whatever you want to do. So
Gotcha.
it's a boutique cigar-friendly cigar brand.
Ah,
You know,
okay.
it's all inclusive. That
Right.
was the engineering and science behind
Right.
the Upsetters brand.
Okay. Well, you mentioned Nick. Could you tell us a little bit about your relationship, how you got started with Foundation Cigar? Tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, my relationship with Nick goes back to 1997. I encountered him for the first time. I think he was 19 or 20 years old, working in the Calabash shop in New Haven, Connecticut, more specifically Hamden, right outside of New Haven. And I recall calling Jonathan Drew at the time, you know, because I'm just learning the business myself. I had a couple restaurants at the time. It was sort of just a pastime for me to go around visiting stores. And I called John and I said, dude, I just met the most knowledgeable tobacco person. I've been to about 50 shops already. I go, it's a kid. I go, he's got a whole library. I mean, what the hell's going on? You know, he's like, really? So John became very intrigued with this guy, and you know what? It was by 2003, maybe 2004. John had come up already at that point to meet with Nick, and we would hang out. And Nick spoke Spanish and whatnot.
Right.
We were looking for somebody to insert into our factory at the time. There were a lot of challenges in the factory at the time,
Right.
in Esteli. And you know what? I brought Nick down for his first visit. With the intention of, hey, you know, our flight's in 3 days, so enjoy and get to know some of the people. I left by myself.
Right,
you know,
right,
Nick
right.
stayed.
He
You
stayed.
know, yeah. And he just jumped all in.
Nice.
And he did a tremendous amount for Drew Estate at the time, sourcing leaf, creating blends, managing the factory, a factory that was growing leaps and bounds. So that's pretty much our background. So again, fast forward, he called me about 3 years ago. You know, I want to put the team back, and
Nice.
you know, I was busy, and basically, I just had finished my book. I went into edits and whatnot, and still a lot of work to be done to get it published. So I said, you know what, I'm kind of busy, but listen, dude, again, you want to work on an infusion thing, it's a home run.
Right.
You
What's
know?
the name of the book?
No name yet. That's going to be the last thing. Once it's a complete final artifact, the inspiration I'm certain is going to hit me. There's a few different things, but it's a very compelling book. Very compelling. A lot went into it. 500 plus pages. So
Oh, wow.
yeah. There'll be a lot on the industry, a lot of my tenure with Drew, a lot of life story stuff. I've been through the ringer, and people that know me, and I'm very upfront about it, very colorful life. I'm kind of like the falling angel from my alma mater, you know? And yeah, life got a little crazy for me, and somehow I came out the other side. So I'm like, you know what? I got to share this shit. This is good stuff, you know? So... And that's pretty much all it. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So what can we expect? Can you give us a scoop? Smoke Signals exclusive.
Mhm.
What's coming out of Foundation?
The release to look forward to, we just released at the show. It's a line extension of Tabernacle, which is this phenomenal blend. It is called Havana Seed number 142.
Okay.
Havana Seed itself was brought to Connecticut Valley in the 1870s. No one had really gone into high gear in producing this seed into leaf. There were some challenges with the seed over the years in terms of maintaining great yield that would justify, hey, yeah, let's go hog wild with this thing. And Nick, in all his expertise and his vision and whatnot, sort of adopted the Havana Seed a few years ago. And one of the issues that he overcame very quickly was combining it with, I believe it was C35 and 112, which seemed to eradicate the susceptibility of root rot in this Havana seed.
Okay.
That alone is a home run.
Right.
Beyond that, there were other certain things as far as balancing the leaf's oil with the thickness of the leaf.
Right.
The end result, and it'll be out, I would say, no later than October. We're still sitting on it. Is absolute, like, just unbelievable.
So where does this fall in comparison to the Tabernacle?
There's a divergence because, again, you're going to have a very old Cuban flavor and profile to it. A lot of heavy richness. And then you'll get this cross of Connecticut Valley sweetness. Very hard to describe. I've had a number of them. Up until my last one was last week, and in my opinion, my palate's not turbocharged like Nick's palate, but I think they're ready. You know, yeah, it's a monster. You know, full stomach cigar.
Nice.
But yeah, and that'll be it'll have instead of I like you, it'll have a a couple times. But only in a hot bath.
College doesn't count.
What was the question again?
I think that's
Fucker threw me. That's an edit. Or maybe.
No, I think we're actually.
Yeah?
No.
Yeah.
We're not PG.
Look what you did over here. Wade. Ginny. Yeah.
So,
I'll call your sister if I have to.
that's cool. Look, well, thanks again for taking time to talk to us.
Anytime.
Man, it was a pleasure meeting you. We're kind of
Thanks,
looking
Chuck.
forward. We're big fans of the line.
Yeah, man.
I'm a big Tabernacle fan.
Good.
And it's really exciting to see what's coming out of the company.
Gotcha.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ryan.
Yes.
Thank you, Charles.
Thank you.
All right, and our next segment is one of my favorite segments is where we get into the email bag. Today, we got an email for this show. We selected an email from Cigar Guy 212. And his question was, what is the difference between a Lonsdale and a Lancero? That's a good question. I have with me our executive producer, Faz, and I'm going to throw it at him. Faz, what is the difference between a Lonsdale and a Lancero?
Well, it is a good question, and they're very similar, but there are slight differences. A Lonsdale is typically around a 48 ring gauge and around 6 to 6.5 inches long, where a Lancero is a 38 ring gauge and 7 to 7.5 inches. Beyond that, there really is no other differences. It's basically two similar sizes, little different flavor profiles from each one, but that's about all there is.
That's right. And if you remember from a couple episodes ago, we featured the Herrera Stelly, and we were smoking a Lancero.
Absolutely. Great smoke, too.
It's great smoke. And also, just to add in there, one of my favorite cigars, one of my top 3 cigars, is the Norteño.
Oh, wonderful.
Yes, and that's also in the Lonsdale format. That's a box press Lonsdale. So, good question. Thank you for the question. And you can always send in your questions at smokesignals161@gmail.com. Thanks again for sending in the question, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks. As always, we thank you for listening. You can find the podcast on YouTube and where you like to listen to your podcast. Also, send in an email. We love to get emails from our listeners. You can email us at smokesignals161@gmail.com. And we also want you to stay tuned. We got a lot of upcoming cool stuff. Possibility that we'll be having a one-on-one interview with Willie Herrera, the master blender for Drew Estates. Also, we have something special which we're calling the Broadleaf Battle. That's going to be coming soon as well. So please stay tuned, keep listening, stay smoky.